My name is Babaian. If you want to know about me, you can read in the little book. But I've been vaping about 10 years, and I do just about everything in vaping. I have some vape shops, I do advocacy, I'm a registered lobbyist in the state of New York in the United States, and all that good stuff. 10 years ago, I wanted to tell everyone what an e-cigarette was. I said, this is the greatest thing ever. Everyone should have one. And I bought some for friends, and then I said, I can't give these to people. What if I find out in 10 years that they're killing people? So I raised some money, I did some research, and I co-authored a paper with a researcher from a university on toxicity of vapor to find out. It was the first one in the US in 2011, I believe. And I did a lot of work to do that because I only have a master's degree, and so I was not really qualified to do that. But I did do a lot of research in order to do that, and I was thankful I did. Once I got back the results, I didn't even wait for the publication because there was a lot of red tape, and it had to go back for peer review and all. It takes time. Most people here know that already. So I just went into business. As soon as I saw the results, I said, oh, look, not killing anybody, going into business. So I opened a vape shop. And then I opened another one, and then I opened another one, and then I opened another one. In the United States, we can't, and I apologize, I speak very quickly. I'm from New York. So for anyone who has difficulty with English, I apologize. We're not allowed in the United States to tell the truth about vaping products. If we do, our store can be closed because then we're making claims about a product that they're healthier when we don't have proof that this product with this liquid and this drip tip and this battery is healthier for this person with this liquid in it. So it's crazy, but we're not allowed to tell the truth. Because of that, one of the ways that we marketed when we first opened was we put up a sign, a big banner, and it said, "Smokers Wanted." And this was revolutionary because nobody wants a smoker. Smokers are disgusting, they're useless. And so, to have smokers wanted, it made the smokers feel appreciated. They would come and say, well, what do you want me for? I said, I want you to try this. It's free, just try it. This was back when we were allowed to give people free samples. Now the United States, you can't give even a free puff. They have to pay you for a puff because otherwise we might addict children and they might become magically addicted to nicotine. So we got all these smokers in the beginning, and we let them try, and as soon as they puffed it, they had the same reaction I did. Oh my God, this is gonna help. I'm gonna stop smoking with this. And so you would see the look on their face, and you would just know, this is gonna work for this person. It's incredible. Because we weren't allowed truthful advertising, letting people puff it was the only way for us to tell them, look, this will work, puff it. No, don't, nothing, just here, puff. Don't even talk, just puff this. And they would be like, oh my God, this might work. So the market developed over the last 10 years, mostly by consumers. Someone else mentioned that, so I'm gonna be very brief on that. But the consumers made the market. We took the products and we said, these e-cigarettes are okay and this could work, but it needs to be better. It needs to be faster, it needs to be hotter, it needs to be, bigger airflow, it needs all of these things. And so we, back years ago, 10 years ago, I'm sure Andy remembers some of this, we took, electric toothbrushes and, adult sex toys that had adjustable features on them, and we turned them into e-cigarettes, and we said, look, a bigger battery, oh, look, I can make it hotter. And we did all of these things because we needed it. It wasn't sufficient. I was smoking 35 cigarettes a day for more than 20 years. And by the way, I know I mentioned I've been off of cigarettes for 10 years, so that means I'm really, really old. But for 20 years, I smoked 35 cigarettes a day, and a little tiny e-cigarette with the little cartridges that we had to drip stuff into the fiber filler material wasn't cutting it 10 years ago. And so all of these innovations took place by our own means. And of course, China said, hey, look, they put up a YouTube video again, let's make this. And so, of course, the industry developed based on what the consumers wanted. The people who changed in the beginning, early on, 10 years ago, were people who couldn't afford to smoke, either financially or health-wise, or just because we were nerds. We were nerds who were interested in how can this product work? What can I do to change it? And so in the beginning, they said, oh, look at all these weirdos sucking on their space sticks, and we were puffing on our sticks and blowing out something that looked like it was smoke, and everyone thought we were crazy, and we were, so that's okay. It was not easy to use. It was not easy to use an e-cigarette 10 years ago or even 8 years ago. You had to figure it out. You had to go watch videos and go on forums and ask questions and get help. And there were no stores. You couldn't go to a store and say, how do I use an e-cigarette? You had to go online and ask people questions and then try and interpret what they meant, because they were usually speaking with some foreign vernacular that you couldn't understand what they were saying. And you were like, what does this slang mean? I don't understand what this word, what does bloody hell mean? In America, we were confused, but the UK was the only ones we had to go by. We had to rely on the UK because they had it first. And so we did. The UK and the US worked together online on e-cigarette forum years ago to figure out how to make an e-cigarette better. As the devices got better and simpler and easier to use, I hope this won't be offensive to anybody, dumber people quit smoking using e-cigarettes. And unfortunately, we ended up with a lot of people who were not super motivated to use an e-cigarette. They did not want to put that much effort in. They just wanted to take it and stick their little pod in it and puff it. And that's great, because more people quit smoking, and we're happy about that. We want more people. Everyone should quit smoking. Smart people, medium people, dumb people, doesn't matter. Everyone should quit smoking. We want everyone off of cigarettes. However, it made it a little bit more challenging for those people that were not technologically savvy to stay off of cigarettes, because they got frustrated. This isn't working. I filled it up. I did what it said, and it's not working, and I don't know how to fix it. And there weren't enough shops. And so all of a sudden, 2014 came, and the boom happened, and the shops opened everywhere, and there were just so many shops. There were more shops than there were vapors in the United States. It was crazy. There was literally 10 vapors per shop. It was nuts, and stores opened so quickly that very quickly they started closing because there were just too many. But at least vapors had somewhere to go. They had somewhere to ask for help. They said, I don't know how to use this, I don't know how to fill it, I don't know how to do it. So we taught them. I opened my store first store in 2011 in a very not so nice neighborhood. In fact, our first month in business, someone got shot outside, and the second month in business, the building got robbed. So it was not a nice neighborhood, but we chose this neighborhood specifically. Why? Because it was a very bad neighborhood, and everyone there smoked. And we said, wow, all of these people smoke. And everyone said, yeah, but they don't have any money. And we said, who cares? They smoke. We want them to not smoke. Who cares if they have money? So we bought the least expensive kits. We made them as cost efficient as possible. And we started getting people off of cigarettes. And they told their friends, because smokers go outside to smoke. Because in New York, especially in New York City, you can't smoke anywhere. And so everybody told everybody. And then all of a sudden, we had lots and lots of customers. We quickly opened more stores, some in better neighborhoods, so that we could fund the stores that were in not such good neighborhoods, which we did. In the lower income areas, my most recent store, we went back to basics, and we opened again in East Harlem, in another not so nice neighborhood in New York City. Lower income, more difficult living situations, people who didn't have a lot and couldn't afford a lot. So we started working with people across the street from our store, and they were in projects or city-funded housing because they were low income. We gave them our kits at cost, and we said, this is what we pay, and this is what we're gonna charge you, and we want you to use this, and we want you to keep coming back. We discounted their liquids, so we made very little money on it, and we spent 30 to 40 minutes with every customer teaching them how to use it and how to make it work. We made sure that we told them that if we were not there and we were only open for 8 hours a day, that they should call us if they needed help. And we gave them our phone number, and we said, listen, even if it's the middle of the night, call and press number 8. It will go to someone's phone, and we will answer you, and we will help you figure out how to use it. Don't buy a pack of cigarettes until you call. And if we cannot help you, we will help you find a solution, but you need to call us first. So we were able to get a lot of these people off of cigarettes, which was wonderful. We also had next door to us a recovery facility for people who had addictions to drugs and alcohol. And almost 70 or 80% of these people are smoking cigarettes because they are addicts, and like ourselves, most of us need nicotine. They were all needing nicotine, and frequently. So we did the same for them. We gave them kits at cost, we converted them, we tried very hard. Unfortunately, the rehab facilities, because they're funded by the city of New York, they're not allowed to vape inside. And when they go outside, it's easier sometimes to have a cigarette. The nicotine delivery is more efficient, it happens faster, and so frequently we were losing them, and that was a problem. So we're working harder on finding better ways. Unfortunately, the rehab facility wants to confiscate all their products because they think they're putting drugs in it, and so that's making it a little bit difficult as well, but we're doing the best that we can. Briefly, since I want to make sure that I have some time for this, I want to tell a story about Bill Bryant. Bill Bryant is one of our customers. He came into our shop about 1.5 years ago. And he said, he came in his wheelchair. He's 74 years old. He was wearing his Vietnam veteran hat, and he was looking very frail. And he said, I have $70. What can I get for this? My doctor told me to come see you, and he gave me this money. And I said, oh, your doctor told you to come. I said, are you from another country? I said, because in America, doctors don't do that. And he said, I go to Mount Sinai. I'm having cancer treatment right now. I have stage 4 lung cancer, and the doctor told me I have a few months left to live. He said, and he gave me this money because I'm on a fixed income and I don't have any money, and he told me I need to come here specifically to this shop and get an e-cigarette. He told me to come and see the girl here. I said, I don't know who your doctor is, and I said, and please don't tell me because it's better probably if I don't know. I said, because in America, doctors aren't allowed to do this. They're not allowed to tell you to get an e-cigarette, and they're certainly not allowed to give you money to go get one. I said, but I'm really glad that he did. So for the amount that he had, the $70 that he had, I gave him a $150 kit because he needed it. He was a pack plus a day smoker. I had been smoking for 61 years, I think he said. Which is crazy, and he now has a year and a half off of cigarettes. He's been through his chemo. At one point, he almost relapsed, but thankfully, I gave him my cell phone number, and I said, please call me if you get stuck, and he did. And he said, I'm stuck. I'm in the hospital. I just came out of a coma. My e-cigarette is here because I had it in my pocket when the ambulance picked me up. He said, but I have no liquid left, and they didn't bring my liquid. Can you please bring me more liquid? I don't know what I'm going to do, and they won't let me leave. So I did. I drove to the hospital and I brought him some liquid, because when you do that for the consumers and they have access in a situation like that where they cannot get to a shop, they will never choose to smoke. But if he didn't have it and he had said, I don't give a crap, I'm going outside, he would have bummed a cigarette off the first person that he saw. He would have said, give me a cigarette, please, I need nicotine. So this is reality. I still have a million more things, but I'm going to be very fast on them because I don't want to miss out on the two most important things. One of the things that I did want to mention when someone was sharing how to teach a new person is that there's something that people do when you let them try different flavors. People are really not, some of the researchers are not 100% understanding how important flavor is, but there's something that a consumer does when you let them try a flavor and that flavor is the right one. They can try 50 or they can try 100, but at some point, and it's universal in every country, they try that flavor and their eyebrow goes up like this, and they're like, ah. And as soon as one eyebrow goes up, that is the flavor. And if you do not give them, if you don't see that, don't give them the flavor. If they say, yeah, this one's good, don't give it to them until that eyebrow goes up, because that is the flavor that will get them off of cigarettes. And that is one of the most important things that we've found after 10 years. Another one of the really important things is whether or not their nicotine is strong enough, because a lot of times they're not aware that 3 milligram is not sufficient for a pack-a-day smoker, and you need to make sure that they understand. Trying the right device is very important, because if they try the right device and they say, hey, this one is close, and then they end up getting it and it's not quite right, you can adjust that device without making them buy a whole new setup. This is especially important in low-income areas, near like where some of our stores are, because the people can't afford to spend another $50 or $80 or $100 on a new setup. You have to fix that setup and make it work for them, which may mean getting them a different tank that's a little bit tighter air draw, or upping their nicotine level because they can't turn the power up because it's not an adjustable device because they had to get something affordable. But there are a million things that can be done, and one of the most important things that you can do with consumers is to tell them, if it's not working for you, you don't need to buy a whole new setup. You just need to come back in and we will fix it for you. If they understand that it's not going to cost them a whole lot more money to fix it, they will come back. They will not throw it in a drawer. They will not let it collect dust. They will come back, and then you can find them what works, even if it means that you have to mix their liquid with another nicotine to up it a little bit because they can't afford to buy another bottle. You have to make it work. I'm working on some level with Helen Redmond to try and get her to work with the city housing. She made a presentation earlier today. I'm not going to go into that. For those of you that are interested, you can ask her about her work. But the two most important things I didn't want to forget to cover briefly are in 10 years, in a couple of months, we're having a 10-year reunion for many of us in the UK and the US who have been vaping for 10 or more years. This is important because there will never be another event that will have so many people who've been vaping for 10 years or more in one place. And there will probably be more than 100 or 150 people at this event, because there were that many of us vaping 10 years ago. So I would encourage you to please spread the word to anyone you know that's looking to do research, because although we don't have previous data from 10 years ago, we have long-term vapers vaping and not smoking for 10 years, and we don't have long-term health effects yet. And of course, that's the complaint. We don't have any long-term effects. Well, guess what? There's going to be 150 vapers who have been vaping for 10 years and not smoking, who were very heavy smokers, so that's probably something to keep in mind, that most of us were very heavy smokers, which is why we turned to vaping. And so there will be some health effects that maybe only heavy smokers would have, or heavy former smokers. The last thing that I wanted to say is normally I would have slides and there would be a picture of an apple up here. I didn't do slides, but the picture of the apple is up there so that I can say to people, if there was a 50-50 chance that eating this apple was going to kill you, would you eat it? And almost everybody will say, of course not. But every day, people go out and not just smoke cigarettes, but pay money for them, knowing that there's a 50-50 chance they're going to die from smoking. Nicotine is not addiction. It's a dependence on a product that people require to survive. They're willing to die to have it. Understand that although it's not the same as insulin and diabetes, people who use nicotine are not choosing to use nicotine. We are not wanting nicotine. Our bodies require nicotine. And for people who know that they're going to die to continue to get nicotine, even when they know they're going to die probably from using it, that's something that we're not considering. And I think that everybody needs to kind of rethink that about dependence versus addiction. Thank you very much for your time.